Hello fellow YouTubers, J-Bo here with another video on the Tisas 1911 by request. It is we'll focus on this, model 1911 A1 U.S. Army, ZIG M1911. Made by Tisas in Turkey. This has been a fantastic handgun, and I had a request from subscriber Old War Monger, who was asking about the wear that this may have after about 3,000 plus rounds through it. And I do have a whole ton of rounds through this, and it has been absolutely fantastic. So don't ask me how I got 3,000 rounds through this since 2020 when the ammo dried up. But there was some little holes in the ground here and there that would make good ammo during the shortage. And what you had to do is subscribe to an email list. And when they notified you, you'd go buy it, hopefully before it sold out. There's a few times it would sell out before I got there, but there were other times it didn't. So I managed to always have ammo all during the shortage. And I shoot a lot of ammo, so it's very difficult for me to stock up ahead like some people do. We go every weekend, and at least 5 hours, 4 hours, even when it's only 10 degrees out. So it's something we're committed to, and I have a lot of practice shooting. So anyway, let's continue on with this. And he was asking me about the general wear on this, user Old War Monger. And that is holster wear. I use a Kydex polymer holster for this, and I use a leather one for my nicer. Well, I want to say nicer, but this is a really nice gun too. But I have an auto ordnance stainless steel 1911 that I paid about $1,100 for, and I use a leather holster for that to keep it in good shape. And this is made to use, so I don't care so much about what happens to it as far as wear. Like, for example, I'll just, when I'm at the range, this is a gun I don't mind tossing around. So that's just one of those things. And even with that, I should discuss the finish first. And at the end of this video, by the way, there will be some footage of it being fired, so you can check that out. I got a couple of different clips I could stick on the end of this. But I don't even know where to start other than trying to get, we'll do kind of like a pass-by in slow motion. And you can see on the edges, the finish is wearing off, and this is a cerakote finish. Now, a lot of people seem to assume that this is going to have the same kind of finish as the vintage 1911s, which it does not. This is cerakote. You can see like a little bit of buildup right here where it's a little uneven, like uneven spraying. So that's how you can tell with that. But it doesn't really matter to me because I actually had a comment on my Tisas once that was like, well, that's a deal breaker for me. And I'm like, what do you mean, a deal breaker? Like, you're not going to buy it because it doesn't have a parkerized finish like the magazine does? The magazine that comes with it does have a parkerized finish. And as you can see, it has a lot more wear than the handgun does. And I would assume the handgun would look like this too if it was parkerized. You see that? patina like that is pretty. It really is. I agree. And if we had a parkerized handgun, it would look like that. But it is not. It is cerakoted. So I don't know if they changed that for some, because when you see some other ones that some people have, it looks like it has more of a matte finish than this does. And I have an explanation for that. And it's because I am always wiping it down when I come back from shooting with a rag that has oil in it. I have always done that, and it just kind of like polishes it over time. Also, handling it polishes it. But anyway, back to the detail of this. You can see, if I tap on this to focus, the edges, which are worn, or getting worn. And these are not the original grips, but that's okay. But you can see where the screw heads are starting to wear, and we're seeing wear around these contours and on the beaver tail, mostly from shooting it. And as you can see, it's a beautiful handgun. It really is. It's a great pistol. I have already checked it before I started making this video, but we will check it anyway. See, it's unloaded. It's empty. Nothing down in there. And so you can see where on the end of the barrel, where the ejection port is from use. And I'll take this apart in a second. A little bit of wear around the trigger guard and on the trigger face itself, which they did a beautiful job. That crosshatch kind of engraving, I guess you could call it. And we work our way up the gun to the front. As I try to get a focus. It's like when you used to go see a movie when they had real film. Focus! So you can see the front of this is worn from contact with this. You take it apart and clean it, you swivel that aside, take it out, and then when you put it back, it rubs and it took the finish off the front here. And there's some more of that Kydex holster wear. And the interesting thing, which I think you can see on this, is if you look, it looks like there is a black finish on the handgun first, and then they put a cerakote on top of that. Whether or not that is parkerization, that they put a cerakote over, I do not know. But it is obvious that there is two coats of something there. See that? So that's very interesting to me. I don't know what the manufacturing process is for this, but you can plainly see that there is two colors there layered on top of each other, which is very interesting. And you can see how I mark the front sight so I can get a sight picture quickly with a silver chrome paint pen, which if I were to rub it like this, it comes right off, so it doesn't stay on there. And so generally that's pretty much all the physical wear you can see, like right here, the mag release button. It's wearing out, and the screw heads mostly. But you know, and on the safety, pretty much all the places that you touch this, it wears. There's the hammer face. And it's been nice, and I have pointed this out before, but usually the spots on this that have problems as far as stress fractures, if you want to say, well, it's a less expensive model and it has issues, and is that little plate that the firing pin is in will stress fracture, crack, which could potentially fail, and the firing pin, I don't know what, if it would shoot backwards, or I don't know what would happen if that failed. But there was a couple of mentions in videos I saw on YouTube by other users who said they did replace that plate after about 1,000 rounds because they had problems. And I have not had any issues after 3,000 rounds, so I don't know if that's something that they fixed for that, or if it's just something that might happen to some and not others. But all of the parts for this, for the government models, are interchangeable. You can put parts from other 1911s in this. They all fit. I haven't personally tried it, but I would be very shocked if it wasn't, since they use the design and plans and measurements and everything else. And so it's a great firearm. It really is. And we'll take this apart in a second, but what I want to do is talk about the magazine that came with it. It's been flawless. It runs great. And made in Italy. It's the Monger magazines. I have another one here to show you the kind of plunger it has, and I like it. I like that design. It feels good when you load it. It functions properly. It's different than most other types, but I actually like these. It's got a nice smooth spring. There's no scratching. It's very, very smooth. I bought this, I believe it was probably on eBay or something like that. It was like 20 bucks. So that's the brand. Monger, whatever. Now these two magazines I got, I like a whole lot also. These are Wilson Combat magazines. And you'll see it has more of the traditional Colt style plungers. These also run very smooth. And the other thing I like about these is when you have the ammo in here and you shake them, you don't hear anything at all. They're dead quiet. And I guess that's why people like them, because I guess you could go on a military op and not give away sneaking around in the dark. It's quiet. So I suppose little things like that are important, I would think. This is my auto ordnance one that was with my expensive 1911. It's stainless steel. And this is a really good magazine as well. So very, very smooth, great spring. And basically a lot of these magazines, if you get the cheap ones, there are some copies of parkerized magazines on eBay. I tried 3 different ones, and it doesn't matter the brand, none of them have been good, and they're all in the junk box because they would have feed issues. The lip would bend easily and change the lip, and then once that happens you have feed problems, ejection problems, whatever else. And I would just highly recommend just get a magazine that works. You can get one of these for $25, $30. Not the non-parkerized. I haven't been able to find any parkerized ones. But I think I paid 20 bucks for this one, this Monger. And it's been fine. So pay a little bit extra for a good magazine. I think I paid $25 for the Wilson Combats, and even this stainless steel one is $34.99, I think. But you'll have this for the rest of your life, so you don't have to worry about magazines and springs for many years. So anyway, I'm going to disassemble this, and it's pretty easy to do. Take that spring, recoil spring, and this plunger gizmo, which, you know, the whole point of this is to show some of the wear. I'm not going to clean the oil off because I want to have it oiled. But you can see that it just has general wear like you would expect. That shows up pretty good. And the whole point of this video is to show the wear. So that's generally what we're getting here, to be expected. The spring, this is the stock spring. And as you can see, it's got all kinds of good, there's no bulgy spots in it that are giving out, which is a sure tell sign when you start seeing kinks in your spring that it's on its death's bed. This is still a nice, good spring. After 3,000 rounds, I have no issues. So there's no question about the part quality of parts that they used in this. I am very, very surprised that I didn't have to quote unquote what people say, upgrade their firearm with aftermarket parts. I have left all the stock parts in it, and it has functioned perfectly. I've had no issues at all. So we'll take out the swivel thingamajigger, and this doesn't have too much wear on it, just where it makes contact with the plunger gizmo. And so it's basically still looking somewhat new, I guess. I guess this just doesn't really do that much for moving around. And we'll take out the come on, cooperate with me. The slide stop is got a little bit of wear that you would expect. Kind of cool. And some witness marks here and there. A little bit of wear underneath here. Generally speaking, what you would expect. Oh, I jammed up my barrel in here. There we go. So we have the recoil thing. It has the short style, and that has a lot of wear on it for the moving parts. And you can see metal fatigue and metal wear is virtually nothing. So again, very good build quality. You know, this reciprocates every time. It takes a lot of abuse, and you can see it's a good quality steel that is not giving out and gouging, grooving. There's no grooves in it, and that's pretty impressive. But you can see there has been a lot of use. So this is all very good. And to be honest with you, this is kind of good to do this because I've never really checked all of this wear on here. There's the feed ramp. I guess that would be kind of what you would expect. inside the slide grooves. It's good. And when I have it back together, I'll wiggle the slide for you. And on 1911s, generally you are going to have some play anyway, unless it's brand new. When this was brand new, it didn't. But neither was the World War II vintage Colt. And those move too, from what I've seen. But as you can see, I keep my tracks well lubricated for good reason, which helps prevent all that wiggle after shooting 3,000 rounds. So that's the whole purpose of doing that. So there's lots of discussion online about how much lube to use in 1911s, and all the lube is good lube. In my opinion, you can never have too much lube in a 1911. Other pistols, not so much, but for these, you know, the polymer types, just the contacts in the slide, those metal contacts that stick out that the rail rides on, you just need a little bit of oil on those and it's good. But these have a different design and you need to pay attention to the lube. So I hope I'm showing this well enough. And we have inside the mag well, if I can get this to focus. There we go. And you can see generally expected wear. And we're not seeing all this metal wear like you would see from cheap steel. And that's really important to really to note. Now inside here, generally what you would expect, and you can see some wear on the face of this and wear down here. And you can see also, this is a good example, the firing pin safety spring thingamajigger that pops up and down here. This doesn't have it because I believe this is like the Government 70 series. They didn't have that. So they have replicated the original. And you can see there's a little bit of wear. But that is from manufacturer. So again, that's just finish wearing off. That is not steel giving out. So it's held up amazingly well. Look at that. That's pretty impressive. And so I hope this answers your question, Old War Monger, about wear. Basically, it's aesthetic wear. The metal itself is not giving out. It's built with a very good quality, as you can see. I don't think you would argue with that. Pretty good stuff. This is a great firearm. It really is. I really enjoy it. Now, the part that gets the most action, I guess you'd call it, is the barrel. And you can see, again, I would say that is general wear. The barrel is supposedly parkerized. It looks like it. It looks like that's real parkerized. It doesn't look like a cerakote, to me anyway. I could be wrong. But it's hard to tell on this. It definitely has a lot of wear that resembles the magazine. So I don't know what Tisas did, you know, but anyway, and welcome to hear what your comments are, Old War Monger, on whether or not that is parkerized or cerakote wearing off. To me, that looks parkerized. I'm no gun expert, that's for sure, not by a stretch. But, so the barrel loop right here, it looks like it's just finish wear. It's not actual metal wear. So I keep this clean. I keep it lubed properly, and it seems to be of benefit, obviously. And I think if you poorly lube a firearm, it's not going to perform well anyway. So there's that. So I'm going to make a kind of a follow-up part 2 to this, just for silly reasons. You'll see why if you bother to go check it out. I'll put the link under the video. But this video ran kind of long, and I don't know if I'm going to stick the shooting video on the end of this or not. I kind of have to now because I said so. But it's going to be a long video, but that's just the way that goes, I guess. So anyway, YouTube's either going to let me do a 720p or not. But I am going to do a follow-up short little video on a couple of interesting other firearms that have patina from wear, just as a follow-up. So anyway, thank you very much for checking this out and making a request to show the wear of this fine firearm, which I, again, highly recommend. Basically, if you do not go out and get one of these for $380, $390, $400, you are absolutely crazy out of your mind if you do not get one of these. I mean, here it is. 3,000 rounds later, you can see it's held up well, it's nice, and it's everything you would expect if you're not going to go buy a $2,000 vintage World War I 1911. This is obviously something you should look into because it is an honest replica, and it functions, it looks great, and you will not be disappointed. So again, thank you very much for watching. I'll add a couple of videos on the end of this, and I hope this answers questions, because there really is no videos on YouTube about these guns after they have been fired and patinaed. People post new gun reviews, and then you never see the damn thing again. So I hope you've enjoyed this. That's why it's long. There's a lot to look at, and I hope you find this of benefit. So thank you very much for watching my channel and my video. And I'm not monetized, and I don't care if you like the video. I do, but you know what I mean. So anyway, if you find my channel interesting, share it with other people. And I guess that's about all. So this is J-Bo signing off, and from the Tisas 1911 handgun disaster film, I guess we'll call it. So have a good day. Bye-bye. So I have assembled this back, and it's empty, and the slide does not wiggle. See that? Very, very minimal. You have to really move it to try to move it. And most of this is just the gun moving and my hand moving. It's not moving. So still very solid. Virtually non-existent wear in the slide tracks after 3,000 rounds. So there you have it. All right. There goes nothing.